This is a demonstration of deploying multiple workloads on multiple infrastructures simultaneously using the CloudForms self-service interface. First, we log into the interface, which as you can see is web-based, and it brings up the main dashboard for self-service. We will go into the service catalog and look at the services that we can choose to provision. This, of course, is all set up by the operations staff. We will start with RHEL 7, which is Red Hat Linux 7 on Amazon. We're giving it a service name. Let's call it Maiden Sir Amma. We're keeping it in the development area. We're giving the VM a name. It's an application server, and we're going to use the default key pair. It's been added to the cart. Now we go back to the service catalog, and let's scroll down again, and let's go with, did I miss it? No, we're not going to do the minimum. We'll do this one. We'll do RHEL 7, or Red Hat Linux 7 on Red Hat virtualization. And again, we will give it a name. On this one, we will pick a small machine, 1 CPU, 2 gigabytes, application server. You notice that each one of these options, each one of these services can be customized to whatever is necessary. We add it to the shopping cart. The shopping cart, of course, being that very convenient and well-known ordering mechanism that just about everyone knows. So that makes this experience a lot easier for operations to learn, or whomever your users happen to be. And now we're going to go with VMware once again. And so we're going to give this a service name. And we're keeping it in the development environment. Once again, we give it a actual VM name. We pick the number of CPUs. Once again, we're going to keep it a fairly small machine, and it is an application server, and we add to the shopping cart. Name too long. My apologies. And we add to the shopping cart. Now, what's in the shopping cart? Let's take a look. We have these 3 items. We have Red Hat Linux 7 on Amazon, on Red Hat Virtualization, and on VMware. And now we'll click the order button. So we have now put in the request, and we see the order here, and this is our order number. And we see that there are the date it was ordered and by whom. We're the cloud operators at the moment. We see that provisioning has been approved. We have auto approve on here. You can also manually approve if that's the way you want to run. But we can break this out, and we see that everything has been approved. The request state is pending. Now let's follow through on how this appears as far as starting up. I'm going to log back out, and instead of going into the self-service interface, I'm going to actually move into the normal interface. This is where your operations staff would normally come in to look at things. We see the main dashboard, and from here we are going to go into the services once again, and we'll look at the services requests. And in here we see the services that we have just requested. We see that we have 2 active and 1 pending. We see who the requester was, what type of service it was, and the description of each, what was being asked for. We see that they've all been approved, and in this case the automatic approver was by administrator, and that is set up for either automatic or manual approval. And if you have manual approval, you will see whomever approved it inside this part of the report. We see the approved denied date, created date, last update, And then there is the last message. Let me roll that over just a little bit. And we see that for error messages, etc., and we see right now it is in process of various processes as we go here. We can hit the reload button, and we can see that there's been an update. You notice that the last messages has been updated for a number of these things. This is going to take just a few minutes, not too long. So this is one way that that your operations staff can stay on top of what's going on within CloudForms. As I said before, this is all done with a web-based GUI, so you don't need to go to some special machine somewhere in your infrastructure to access this. Any machine that can get to a CloudForms appliance, and we distribute it as a virtual appliance, can get in, as long as you have someone who has the right roles and authorization. We use RBAC, role-based authorization, to make sure that people can only access what you want them to access. And so we see that this is currently moving along. I'm going to roll this back a little. We see that these 3 requests are all currently active and in the task of provisioning. And probably within the next 30 seconds or so, I'd expect to see the first one to come rolling in. And we see once again that we just did a reload, and we see that some of these ones this one's actually in a post-provision, so this is coming along. And we see the first one, the Amazon virtual machine has been already provisioned, so I will hit the reload button. And we see now it's been announced, it's out there, provisioned successfully, and in a few seconds the request state, when I reload, should come through as finished. Right now it's doing post-provision cleanup, and that does take a few seconds. Meanwhile, the other ones are working along. We're waiting to see how they finish up. This one is still inside post-provision processing, which does take just a little while after each one. But then the request state will change to finished. We see that it's registering the DHCP for this one, and we see that the VMware has been provisioned, and so that will go into its post-processing as well. Down here we see VMware doing the post-processing configuration, and we get the next message that apparently the Amazon post-processing has been completed, at least part of it. So we're waiting for all of that to finish up. We see that this one has indeed finished here. This is Red Hat Linux 7 on Amazon, so one of the 3 is already done. We see that the one in Red Hat Virtualizations in post-processing, and we are still waiting on the VMware one, which is taking just a little bit longer. And it's now reorganized, so the active ones are on top, so they're easier to keep track of. We see that we do have a provision success over here on the VMware side, so we expect that one to go into post-processing now, which will take a little bit. After each one, yes, and here's the VMware message saying it has been provisioned. After the machine has been provisioned, there are a number of things that have to be done post-provisioning to make sure it is configured correctly, etc. So that does take a few seconds for each one of these ones. We see you have another notification there as well. Now we see that the VMware one has indeed finished, and now we are simply waiting for the Red Hat Linux 7 on Red Hat virtualization to finish, and we see it has finished provisioning, so we're just waiting for the post-provision tasks to be complete at this time. We still see that it is active. So it's as simple as that, really. It's using a simple storefront technique that you'd use when buying anything online. You simply order the services that you would like, you put in the request, and the net result is that the services, in this case, come up. We see that we've received the other post-provisioning message, and now we see that all three of these have successfully been provisioned. So that's our demonstration for today. Thank you.